Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Markets to Watch from Smack the Markets for week commencing the 22nd of July. So with escalating tensions with Iran, a new UK PM being announced in the early part of this week, and also a focus on US interest rates, where are the keenest markets for traders to focus on this week? There's certainly plenty out there to keep the markets on their toes. So before we go and take a look at the markets, I just want to remind everybody, if you like these market reports and you find them useful and interesting, to continue receiving these, if you could pop to the Smack the Markets website, just register to receive these and we'll deliver them to your inbox twice a week. Okay, so let's take a look at the markets now and take a look at some of the markets that we're focusing on in the trading room this week. First of all, gold. Let's have a look at gold. Now, if we take a look at this from the higher time frame perspective and look at the weekly chart, we can see that the market here is just sort of breaking out of this sort of structure level here that the market's been in, or sort of range that the market's been in for quite some time. Coming out even further, you can see that above this area here, around this sort of 114.30, 114.40 area, sort of puts the market into a sort of rather decent sized trading window above price. And there certainly looks to be plenty of room to the long side. Coming down the time frames, if we take a look at this on the daily, we can see that the market is in an uptrend here, albeit somewhat sort of volatile as we've seen up here in recent sort of days, but the trend is clearly to the long side. And if we come and take a look at this on the mid time frames, the market structures here are starting to look rather interesting for, again, a next leg of a longer trend here. So taking a look at the 4-hour chart here, we can see that the general structure is long. We've got higher highs, higher lows. We've got moving averages and geometry starting to form here, looking quite nice. And also that the market is now sort of retraced back into this sort of zone here, back into the 4-hour moving averages. So I'm certainly keeping an eye on this area here for higher prices. If we sort of kind of mark in a bit of structure through here on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that the market's sort of coming back into an area of support on these sort of mid time frames. So higher prices gives us a nice sort of opportunity to be able to get it long above these areas with stops underneath the lows, and of course, you know, targeting those higher prices there in gold. If we have a look at the Dow now, take a look at the Dow futures contract. The Dow here on the higher time frames clearly had a very good run over sort of recent weeks, and now sort of pushing up to all-time highs. The market's just sort of come off a little bit off the highs, not surprising really, considering it's had such a good strong run here. But again, for me at the moment, the path of least resistance still looks more towards the long side, especially if we're coming into an environment of lower US rates, which is widely expected. We can see here on the daily chart that the market's just sort of pulling back into this sort of area here, just above that 27,000 level. 27,000 being the sort of an area here of key support and resistance, also coming back into the geometry here that the markets have formed on the daily time frame. So we'll be looking for higher prices on the indices here. These are areas where we're looking at more intraday opportunities rather than swing plays, and we'll certainly be looking at long opportunities once these sort of markets start to turn around. Now, the sorts of timeframes that we'll be looking for placing trades will be on the lower timeframes once the US markets open, so when the cash market opens from 2:30 UK time, and again looking at with a focus here on higher prices. Now, if the market does take out this 27,000 level, then we could see a drop sort of fairly quickly back into 26,800. So there's another sort of target area that we'll be focusing on in the near term, should the market sort of weaken off significantly. Now, from a currency perspective, a few of these currencies are now starting to look a little bit more interesting from the higher time frame perspective. One of my favorites here being Kiwi yen. If we see here on the weekly chart, we can see that the market now has kind of broken this weekly short trend. It's we've got a high, we've got a higher low, higher high now. The market's sort of taken out this sort of 72.50 area quite nicely. and looking sort of quite strong still. So we don't see any signs of weakness at the moment. And here, if we can see above this level, there is quite a decent size sort of trading window above price. If we come down to the time frames a little bit more and come down to the daily time frame, we can see that the daily chart is already in a well-structured uptrend. We've also got this 73 level. I pull this out. You can see that there's another level through here at 73, and the market's now just broken above that. But above that 73, well, it looks like quite a decent sized trading window up there to 74. So our preference here is for opportunities above 73, heading up there towards that 74 level. And the sort of time frames that we'll be looking at here is on the sort of 4-hour time frame and lower. You can see here on the 4-hour time frame at the moment, we've got a very well structured trend here. We've got moving averages, geometry, good geometry on the 4-hour time frame, and the market sort of pulling back in towards that 73 level here. In fact, on the lower time frames at the moment, coming down to the sort of 60-minute chart, this is starting to look rather interesting around this sort of area. So targeting long opportunities on Kiwi yen, long opportunities on gold, and also intraday long opportunities on US indices. So that's how we're looking at the markets at the moment at the beginning of this trading week. I certainly hope it helps and look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.